Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for part 2. I just wanted to say as a reminder that when I first started watching Pastor Sandy Armstrong's videos, I had recently finished typing up this timeline on Daniel's prophecy that I wanted to go over and try to explain, and I hadn't done that yet, but also wanted to talk about some other things like DNA, and I wasn't sure what I should talk about next. So I had actually prayed to God about it and asked if he could give me a sign if I should talk about the importance of the year 2017 or if I should talk about some other things such as DNA. And that's when I had pulled up my home page and I noticed this video came up. It was called 2017 Rapture, God Told Us the End at the Beginning. And so I took that as a sign that I should talk about the year 2017, but also took it as a sign that I should watch the video. And so I watched that video, and then I watched several other videos after that. And the most recent videos that I watched a couple of days ago, because they also came up on my homepage just shortly after I did my last video where I mentioned the flood. And so these came up, 2017, the year of the flood. This was 3 parts. And so I watched this video, which was an excellent video. I'll put the links in the description box. And then after that, I watched Escaping the Horrors of 2017, which was another excellent video, and so I'll put those links in the description box as well. But it was after watching those videos that I finally understood the importance of this year, and that it was a year that can be calculated, and that's when I started to do this research over here. And as I mentioned in my last video, I realized there was a parallel with the year 1967, just like there's a parallel with the year 1947 and the birth of Abraham. There's a parallel with the year 1967 and the birth of Christ. And then 1948, when you add those two numbers together, you get 67. So there definitely seems to be a parallel with the years 1947 and the birth of Abraham, or the birth of Israel, and 1967 and the birth of Christ, as well as the year 2017 with both of them. Okay, so the other thing that I noticed or realized is that the year 3984 BC actually works out perfectly with the Jubilee pattern that I had come up with. Okay, so as you can see from this timeline, I had realized that there was a pattern with the years 77 and 27, that the Jubilee years alternated between those two years, or those two numbers, on the Hebrew calendar. But on the Gentile calendar, they alternated between the years 84 and 34. So you see over here the building of the wall in Nehemiah was in 434 BC. Joshua's death was in 1434 BC. The date that I had worked out for the Exodus was 1484 BC. There was the Battle of Alexander the Great was in 334 BC. So once you went into the BC years, it alternated between the years 34 and 84. But in the AD years, it alternates between the years 17 and 67. Okay, so what I realized is that when you go to the year 3984 BC, to the year that I had worked out for the Exodus, which was 1484 BC, you have exactly 2,500 years, which is 50 Jubilees. So from the first Adam to the Exodus, there's 50 Jubilees. And then from the Exodus, which was 1484 BC, to the current year would be 3,500 years, or 70 Jubilees. So from the Exodus to the last Adam is 70 Jubilees, and then from the year of creation, which is 3,984 BC, to the present year, which is 2017 AD, is exactly 6,000 years, or 120 Jubilees. So it worked out perfectly with the pattern that I had already worked out concerning the Jubilee years, without even knowing anything about this year, that this was the year of creation, as well as the year of the birth of Christ. Okay, so the other thing that I've understood for a really long time is the importance of the number 27 with the prophecy that's in the book of Daniel concerning the 70 weeks. It culminates with verse 27, where it talks about the Messiah confirming a covenant. And I noticed that the years of the Jubilee alternate between the years 27 and 77. It was in the year 27 AD that Jesus began his ministry. It's also in verse 27 in all four of the Gospels. The one in John is a little bit different, but in the other three, it talks about Jesus coming in all of his glory. That comes up in verse 27. And I'll go ahead and show them to you in Matthew 24. It's in verse 27, where it says, "For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be." In Luke 21, it's in verse 27, it says, "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory." And then in Matthew 16, it comes up in verse 27, where it says, "For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works." And then in Mark 13, it comes up in verses 26 through 27, where it says, "And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory, and then shall he send his angels, and shall gather them together, his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven." And then John 21, verses 25 through 27, and it's in verse 27 where John the Baptist says, "He it is who coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am not worthy to unloose." And then it was after watching one of Pastor Sandy Armstrong's videos where he was talking about the books of the Bible that I looked at the books of the Bible, and that's when I noticed that the book of Daniel is the 27th book of the Bible. Okay, so like I said, I had already understood the importance of the number 27 with this prophecy. And if you look at the years, starting with the beginning of the 70 Jubilees, that would be the Exodus, and that was in the year 2277. And so I've mentioned before that that looks like the number 27 amplified. So you have the number 27, both the numbers 27 and 77 in the beginning of the prophecy with the Exodus, and then it culminates with the year 5777. But what I didn't realize until now is that the Hebrew year, according to the way the rabbis have allotted the years on the current Hebrew calendar, would be the year negative 222. Okay, so when you add the 222-year difference to the year 5777, you get 5,999. So that would be the very end of the 6,000 years, and I went ahead and added that in as the beginning of the prophecy, because what I realized at first when I saw this year that was numbered 222, I knew that had to be significant, but I really didn't know why. I didn't really look it up to see what the meaning was or anything, but I just knew it had to be significant. But then what I realized is how this also connects with the prophecy and with the alternating years of 22 and 77, because over here at the beginning of creation you have the numbers 222, and then at the very end you have the numbers 777. So once again you have the numbers 27 bookending, or the number 2 beginning the prophecy and then ending with the number 7. So again you have the number 27 bookending this prophecy from beginning to end. And like I had said earlier, this matches up with the calculations that many people have done, apparently, including Pastor Sandy Armstrong, that actually prove that the year of creation, and as well as the year of Christ's birth, is the year 3984 BC to 3983 BC on the Gentile calendar, and it would be year 0 for creation on the Hebrew calendar, and the year 3984 or 3983 to 3984 as the year of Christ's birth on the Hebrew calendar. And this all works out in the end to the year 2017. And so the point that I want to make is that if I wasn't 100% convinced before that 2017 is the year of the Lord's return, I think it's pretty safe to say that I'm 100% convinced now that it is. Of course, God could always change his mind, but there's no way that all of these calculations, especially when you consider the fact that you can actually count the years down from the beginning of the Bible to this current year as being the end of 6,000 years, I don't see how there can be any doubt that this is the year of the Lord's return. And so now I can really understand why Pastor Sandy Armstrong is preaching this with such conviction. And like I said, I highly recommend these videos over here because I'm not as articulate as he is in explaining the urgency of the year that we're in. And so I'll just put those links in the description box, and I hope you watch those videos. And thanks for watching this video, and God bless you.